Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is April 24, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 72 of me answering your immigration related questions. As you can see, I have all your comments pulled up in front of me for today. Before we begin, I'm going to mention, as I always mention in every video that I make, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information that I provide in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State. I don't offer any kind of services. I don't sell anything. Free immigration help is a help, all right? It's not a service. So let's start with the very first comment from King Germain. Hi sir, I'm from the F1 category, all chargeability. Do you have any idea when the visa bulletin for chart A will move to April 2016? All right, King Germain, let's take a look at the visa bulletin and see what's going on for the F1 as of May 2023. So we know the priority date, April 2016. Let's take a look at the priority date, which is here at graph B. So we got January 2017 currently it is showing. So you're in April 2017, so visa bulletin is already past your date. So technically, by what the visa bulletin is showing you is that the immigrant visa should already be available. Now, we of course know that the visa bulletin it has not been updated for a while. We just finally seen some updates in the past couple of months for April visa bulletin, and for May visa bulletin we've seen some really nice updates. Finally things are moving along, but I always say that these dates are still kind of equalizing. So you see no update, and then a huge jump forward, which is great, but it does not mean that we're gonna see this huge jump forward. We still don't know how it will keep moving from now further. All right, will it be a month at a time every month, which at least it would be nice, or maybe it will speed up, or maybe it will slow down. We will see hopefully in the next couple of months, because we're seeing some updates. So I'm thinking for everything else we will be seeing some updates, but for you specifically, King Germain, I do recommend reaching out to the NVC, submitting the public inquiry form, and I'm going to show you how to do that, just so that everyone who's watching, they also know how to do that. If you see that your visa should be already available, all right, according to the visa bulletin, it doesn't matter if it really is not yet. If the visa bulletin is showing the date earlier than yours, meaning that not earlier than yours, I'm sorry, later than yours, meaning that your immigrant visa should already be available and you are already documentarily qualified, definitely submit that public inquiry form with NVC. I'll show you how to do it. So this is the travel.state.gov official government website for Department of State, their Bureau of Consular Affairs. And this is the visa bulletin. You can find this link in the description below. So click on that link. You will have this page open up in front of you. Then go to contact us right here at the very top. I'm gonna open it in a new tab because I'm gonna use this visa bulletin later. And then you will scroll down a little bit and you will see US visas contacts right here. So we're gonna click on that, and then you'll scroll down again. You will see this graph open up, and the very first one you will see who do I contact right here. It says email public inquiry form, which is not actually an email. We're gonna click on that and it will open up another page. I know there's a lot of pages, and you will see another public inquiry form right here, online immigrant visa inquiries only, public inquiry form. Click on that, and finally it will get you to the public inquiry form, where you will be able to fill it out with your information and submit the inquiry and say, hey, you know, I want to follow up on my case. The immigrant visa should already be available according to visa bulletin, because this is the information that comes from the Department of State. So if your visa is not current yet, the Department of State, they do need to update their visa bulletin, all right, and not misinform everybody. So these public inquiry forms, maybe they do not do anything personally for you, because they most likely you will get a boilerplate response. Overall, they definitely do make an impact, because the more of these public inquiry forms with people saying, hey, my visa according to your visa bulletin is current, why am I not getting the interview? Why am I not getting this visa? It will make an impact overall. So definitely do that. We're gonna pause this before before I forget. There we go. And we're going to move on to the next one from Ted Murray. Priority date 4th March 2015. Documentarily qualified October 2020. F1. How long will it take for the interview? Being waiting for close to 2 years and changes. Okay, Ted, thank you for your question. Great question. So, as of recently, as of the release of April 2023 Visa Bulletin, we know that documentarily qualified people in F2A category, and it really doesn't matter which category you're in, as long as you're documentarily qualified, it is really exactly the same process. There is no difference between how long you're gonna wait for an interview. The only difference that we can experience, and it might be, a few months here, a few months there, is where the US Embassy is. So let's say you live in, in a country that is, popular for tourism. Maybe there's a lot of immigration going on from that country. The US Embassy is busy, okay? Yes, that of course might affect when your interview is scheduled, and you will wait a little bit longer than somebody in a country that is maybe not as developed, maybe there's not as much tourism, not as much of immigration from that country, where US Embassy is not as busy. But again, we're talking about a matter of few months. The reason why people are waiting so long that have been already documentarily qualified is because we experience the delays, not delays, we experience complete closures during the pandemic. And from the F2A category, the people who are documentarily qualified in F2A, we see that they are waiting as long as 2.5 years. So if you have been already waiting after being documentarily qualified for 2 years now, which is exactly what what we see, then rough estimate, possibly another 6 months. Within the next 6 months, you should be getting that interview scheduled. But with that being said, I would definitely recommend reaching out to the NVC, submitting the public inquiry form. In fact, instead of public inquiry form, Ted, you can actually submit the expedited request. Why? Because you are documentarily qualified, you have your immigrant visa already available, and it's an emergency for everyone, really for everyone who's watching this, who has the petition going. If you are separated from your family since March 2015 for Ted, that is an emergency. Family should not be separated. So Ted, if you want, I have a video on this channel how to submit that expedited request. I would definitely recommend doing that. But a very rough estimate, within the next 6 months, you should definitely have your interview, because that's what we see from the F2A category for May and April 2023 on the Visa Bulletin. So let me pause this, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Mark Tungol. Mark, thank you very much for being publicly subscribed. I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir. You answered my question. I appreciate it. Anytime. You're always welcome to ask any questions you have. Question from Autumn. Hi, I am in F2B, all chargeability area. My priority date is August 2014 and has been documentarily qualified since May 2022. I applied to a university, got accepted for this year, and would like to be there in time for when classes begin. Is this a good enough reason to request expedition? What is it called? Expedited processing. Yes. Okay, Autumn. So most likely not, honestly. But again, because after all, this is a family reunification case, all right? So your family member is petitioning for you to come into the United States of America. That is more of a reason to request the expedited processing rather than just the school, okay? So you can definitely request that expedited processing. Now, to kind of give you a little bit of some rough estimates, again, May 2022, you were documentarily qualified, and now we are in May 2023. So it has been already a year for you waiting for that interview. So if we look at the worst case scenario, from what we see for some people who have been documentarily qualified in F2A category, like I was explaining to Ted, we are looking at another 1.5 years. But it's a very, very rough estimate, and I think it's going to be much faster than that. Why? Because we see people now waiting for 2.5 years because it's, the whole closures were pretty recent, all right? Now, since all the embassies are open, now since everything is being processed, and there is really no, we are not dealing with the same backlog on the interviews, the same as with the immigrant visas. All right, with the immigrant visas, we're experiencing the backlog because there's a limited number of visas available each year for the categories that are listed on the visa bulletin. It's not the same for an interview, however. There is no any kind of cap. You know, if you're documentarily qualified, if your immigrant visa is available, that's really it. The only thing you're going to the interview for is literally just answer a few questions and get that I-551 stamp on your passport. That's really it, okay? So I think you're not going to be waiting for as long as, you know, a year and a half. I think it's going to be much faster. But yes, Autumn, I would definitely recommend reaching out, either public inquiry form or expedited request, whichever one you want to go with. It really doesn't matter that much, but definitely do that. I wouldn't request the expedited processing based on the university. You can put it in there, but I would put the main reason as, you know, I haven't seen my family since 2014. Now, I don't know if you had an opportunity to come here after 2014, of course, it's different. But still, you're separated from your family, and that's more of an emergency. Again, don't be too, and that goes for everyone who's submitting these expedited requests and inquiry forms. Don't be upset if first of all, you don't get a response at all from NVC. It happens a lot. And if you do get a response and it's just a boilerplate response saying, oh yeah, your immigrant visa is not available. Like I've seen a person whose immigrant visa was literally available. It was already available. And he got a response from NVC saying, oh, we're just waiting for your immigrant visa to become available. Check the visa bulletin. And then you check the visa bulletin and he's like, that immigrant visa is like 2 years already available for him, according to the visa. It's ridiculous, all right? So don't be upset about it. That's how they are. You are already documentarily qualified, so really most of the difficult stuff is already passed. The only thing that's left is the interview and, you know, getting that immigrant visa finally. All right, let's move on to the next one from either EBA or EVA. So EVA or EBA. Well, in whatever case, I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, but can you help me fill out form I-589? So you've commented on the video that I have specifically for the form I-589, where I explain from scratch how to fill out that form. This is the best that I can do with this channel. I don't offer, like I said, any services, because if I offered any services outside of this channel, it means that I'm using this channel in order to collect customers, to make money, to do, and it's not a free immigration help no more. All right, this channel is free immigration help. All right, I'm not asking anything from you. I'm not offering any services by providing you a little bit of information and they say, oh, come back to me and I will, you know, for a certain fee, I will do something for you. I don't do that, all right? There are a few reasons why I don't do that. First of all, that way I'm not answering to anybody. I'm not answering to the government. I'm not answering to, nobody can come to me and say, oh, you can do this or you can do that, because it's not a service. I don't need any kind of license. I don't need anything to do this. Number two is because I genuinely want to help people, because I'm an immigrant myself. And if I'm using this, knowledge that God gave me, put on my path so that I can come through this experience and share it, then, I think I'm abusing the knowledge that God gave me, the experience that God gave me. So I can't do that. I won't be able to do that. So in other words, Yeva, if you have any questions along the way filling out this application, just post them on either on this video or whatever video on this channel. It doesn't matter. All the comments show up this way, and I will address it. Just like this in the video, I will address it. But I cannot, outside of this channel, I cannot do anything else, unfortunately. So let me post this and we're going to move on to the next one. And I say unfortunately, but I think it is fortunately that I cannot do, I don't want to do anything outside of this channel. Because again, then I will be just capitalizing on people, and I don't think that's fair. Okay, so question, not a question actually, Jasbir Kaur, thank you sir for replying to my question. Jasbir, you're very welcome. I hope my answer was helpful to you. Moving further to Tung and G, I'm very sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. Hi, I am in F2B all chargeability area. My priority date is December 2015 and has been documentarily qualified in March 2022. Can I expect the visa bulletin date to become current at the end of the year? All right, let's take a look at the F2B on the visa, so 2015. So we're gonna take a look and see. So okay, so you're 2 years already before the visa bulletin. So for everyone who's watching, all right, this is a great example that shows you how outdated some of these categories are on the visa bulletin, all right? So Tung, he was already documentarily qualified and his immigrant visa is already available. According to the visa bulletin, it's 2 years, for 2 years has been already available. And still nothing. It's ridiculous. It's and it shows just how, you know, how incorrect this information is. That's why when I say rough estimates, they're very, very rough, all right? Because exactly for this particular reason. But I think Tung, for you is going to be a much better estimate if you go by not the F2B category, but F2A category, because you are already documentarily qualified. And we got an update in April 2023 from Visa Bulletin showing that F2A, which used to be current, is no longer current for documentarily qualified cases, but instead showing 2.5 years delay on the interviews. So 2.5 years, and you have already been waiting since 2022, so you have been waiting for a whole year. So a very rough, absolutely worst case scenario, you have about 1.5 years to wait for your interview. Again, it's the worst case scenario and it is very rough. I don't think this is, it's definitely not going to be worse than that. It's going to be much better than that. I think I'm pretty positive about that. Why? Again, because we are not dealing with the visa backlog. We are dealing with the interview backlog. And the interview backlog, I call it artificial backlog. We caused it, well, not we immigrants, but you know, government with their closures, with this whole pandemic situation, they caused it artificially. So people basically who were already documentarily qualified back before pandemic and they were ready to go and get their their immigrant visas, all of a sudden all the embassies are closed. All of a sudden NVC is closed. So however long they were closed for, once they opened up, instead of processing current stuff, they are now processing people who waited from back in, and we see from F2A category, back in September 2020. So it looks bad as of right now, but because there is no cap on interviews, there's no like limitation on how many interviews there can be. I mean, as many as, you know, as US embassies can schedule these interviews, they will. So I think this will be cleared out pretty quick. In the next few months, we will find out. Hopefully the F2A keep updating and everything else in the document, because all of this, everything else here is completely outdated. The only updated in the graph A for the documentarily qualified cases is the F2A category. So in the next couple months, I think we will see updates for the rest, and we will also see the updates for the F2A, and then we will be able to tell just a little bit better, with a little bit more confidence, what is happening and how long people will be waiting, documentarily qualified, that is, for their immigrant interviews. So if you're not subscribed to this channel yet, make sure to subscribe, because every month the new visa bulletin comes out. I make a dedicated video specifically for the visa bulletin, basically comparing everything to the previous months just to see where the movement is, and at the same time giving some, you know, rough estimates, rough predictions. So Tung, I really hope my answer was helpful and useful for you. Let's move on to the next one from KillsJ Tech. KillsJ Tech, thank you very much for another comment. Appreciate it. Thank you for answering my question, sir. Anytime. I wish that the visa bulletin will move in the next few couple months. I'm from Philippines, F2B. My priority date is February 8, 2012, and my documentary qualification is January 13, 2021. Congratulations. And I think this year, 2023, all as is all embassies has been opened and fully operate. Do you think my category move in the next couple of months, sir? Very informative video, sir. Thank you again. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching, and thank you for providing the updated information. Yes, so if you were already documentarily qualified in January 13, 2021, all right? We are in 2023, so 2 years already passed for sure in January 13. My math is horrible, sorry, so I'm trying to. And now we are February, March, April, and we're almost in May. Yeah, so about 2 more months, I would say. A few more months, and you should definitely have your interview because you're already documentarily qualified. Let's take a look at your category F2B 2012. Let's see, category F2B 2012. Yeah, so with the visa bulletin, your immigrant visa should already definitely be available. So literally the only thing that you are waiting for is that interview. So in the next few months, judging by everything we know from the visa bulletin, you should definitely have your interview. But again, I don't know if I mentioned that in my previous response to your previous comment, if you have not tried that yet, but I would definitely recommend submitting that case inquiry, public inquiry form with the NVC. Again, just to give them a little bit of a nudge, be professional, be polite, but say, hey, according to the visa bulletin, it shows that my immigrant visa should already be available. Why is my interview not scheduled? I want to follow up. I want to find out what's going on. Just very straightforward, very professional. A lot of times people, and I keep saying that, the reason why I keep saying be professional, be polite, and it goes for everyone who's watching this video, is a lot of times, I've seen it personally, a lot of times people become emotional, especially when they get letters from USCIS that is either intent to deny or a denial, or their case is outside of the processing times, and then they go and then they're obviously emotional. I understand all of that, and I've been angry myself many times with USCIS. Very angry, very many times. And it's easy to give into the emotion, and it's easy to be quick and respond and type up something and send it, and it might not necessarily make a damage to your case, but it might. Why? Because you have to keep in mind that on the other side of that internet, computer, whatever, there is a human being sitting there and receiving the stuff that we send, all right? They open it up and they're dealing with it, okay? And they're dealing with work, they're dealing with regulations, they're dealing with all of these cases that are piled up, and they also do have emotions, they also do have feelings. So when we show them the courtesy, it is only the right thing to do, all right? Because they're also humans. But I know it's kind of random. I'm sorry if I went off, but I thought I'd mention that. And yes, we're gonna move on to the next question from Bagwadi. Bagwadi, thank you for another comment. I really appreciate it. Saadeo, and I know I'm probably mispronouncing your name. I'm very sorry. Hi, sir. Good night. Thank you for your answering my comments. I'm from Guyana, south of America. I'm not documented qualified as yet. When try to contact NVC is fertile as well. When filing an inquiry form, NVC is not receiving it. Please help me. Okay, so I'm assuming are you able to submit the form? That's what my question is. If they're not responding to your form, that's a whole different story. Like I was mentioning before, it happens quite often. A lot of these public inquiry forms, you send them and they get ignored. A lot of times it happens because there is not enough information in the form. So make sure that you put in the case number, make sure that you identify yourself, you identify the petitioner, you identify the beneficiary. So that when you send that form, when they open up, they see all of the information and they say, okay, we have enough information to pull up this case and take a look at it. A lot of times these forms are not answered because some of that information is missing. They look at the form and they just say, oh, okay, this is missing. We can't pull up this information. I can't answer this. And that's it. So make sure you enter all of the information. If you are not documentarily qualified yet, I'm going to ask you, Bhagwati, and again, I'm going to request for another follow-up comment. I'm very sorry if I do that too much. But if it's not documentarily qualified yet, has it been already approved by USCIS? Has it been already transferred to the NVC? And do you already have the access to the NVC portal? All right. Because that's how it works. You submit the petition, the I-130 petition with USCIS. They review it, they approve it, if everything is good. Once they approve it, they transfer the case to the NVC. Then the NVC, once you're close to the availability of the immigrant visas, they give you the full access to the portal. Before the full access to the portal, you can still log into the portal with your case number from NVC, with the invoice number, 2 numbers that they send you, but you are not able to pay any fees. You're not able to fill out the affidavit of support, submit all the financial documents. You can't do that. Once they give you the full access, then you are able to do that. So depending on which stage you are on, you're looking obviously at different processing times and different process in general. So if you could let me know which stage you're on, I'll probably be able to give you a little bit more information. So let me post this and we're gonna move on to the next one from Simone Williams. Simone, thank you for another comment. I really appreciate it. Always appreciate your comments. Yes, I would like to know if the fact that my son's name is listed on the summary information I received from U.S. Department of State is listed on the summary information I received from that my son's name does it mean they will travel with me the fact that they are both over 21 years of age? Yes, I would like to know if the fact that my son's name is listed on the summary information I received from the U.S. Department of State. Simone, I'm gonna ask you if you could, with a follow-up comment, what summary information have you received from U.S. Department of State? I'm thinking maybe you're referring to the initial I-130 petition, where of course you put all your family members. But I'm gonna say it, but again, I really need to kind of know a little bit more. But if your children, and it goes for everyone who has these I-130 petitions, if your children are under 21 by the time the immigrant visa is already available and they were on initial I-130 application, then they count as derivative beneficiaries, which means that there is no separate process that you need to do for them. They travel with you. All right. The whole age out refers to children basically for whom you file those petitions before they turn 21, and then they count as derivative beneficiaries, but they don't get to enjoy it because while waiting they age out and they become older than 21. And unfortunately right now the regulations that we have in place, it still is the thing, right? The aging out still is the thing, which is sad. They're talking about getting rid of that, and I really hope that they actually will. But please let me know what summary information, because I want to I want to know myself, and I might be able to give you a little bit more information. But if they are over 21, then what you would have to do is just get that I-551. Come into the United States of America. Once you come into the United States of America with that I-551, it becomes a temporary permanent resident card. So as you enter the country already as a permanent resident. So that day you enter the country, you can file I-130 petition for your children. And that's what I would recommend to do. Of course, that makes the process pretty complicated. And now there's another I-130 petition involved. It's sad, but this is the way to do it right now. So I'm gonna post this, and I'm gonna wait for a little bit more information, Simone, if you can, on that summary information that you received from the Department of State. Some more love from Simone Williams. Simone, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let's move on to the next one from Latifa Malik. F2. A priority date 2017, documentarily qualified 2020 August. When will start interview? Okay. Wow, so you're 2020 August, and right now they are doing for F2A, they are doing September 2020. So you are literally, and this is, don't look at this. This is outdated. This has not been updated for years. Okay. So we will see hopefully for the F2B in case if you're F2B. But if you have been documentarily qualified back in August 2020, your interview should literally be like anytime right now. I would highly recommend reaching out, and you can do two things, Latifa, actually. I would recommend reaching out to the NVC, submitting that public inquiry form like I've explained in the beginning of this video, and also I would recommend reaching out to the local US Embassy. Again, it's at their discretion. They might not give you any information, but I would still recommend reaching out and saying, hey, I'm documentarily qualified, my immigrant visa is available. Do you have any idea when my interview should be scheduled? It should be literally anytime, like around the corner, anytime now. But let's move on to the very last comment, which actually has some responses. Grebe Vlogger, I applied for I-130 14 December 2022, and on 24th January 2023, USCIS reviewed my I-130. I'm a spouse of a US citizen. What do you think, sir? How long it will take at this point to be approved? My I-130. And one more question, sir. Should I submit more evidence at this point? Alien relative, all chargeability areas. And then Nicola Persad said, hi dear, as long as your spouse is a US citizen, your case is not a long process. You don't submit anything, evidence, etc. You have to wait until NVC Center asks for those stuffs. Okay. And then response from Grebe, thanks, sir. Well, first of all, Grebe, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the names. Thank you for your question. Also, Nicola, thank you very much for your answer. Grebe, yes, whenever you are, as a spouse of a U.S. citizen, you are an immediate relative. You are not dealing with a visa bulletin. There is no wait time for the availability of the immigrant visa. Basically, once USCIS approves your case, it is transferred to the NVC. Once the case is transferred to the NVC, immediately NVC gives you the full access to the portal. You log into the portal, that's where you will have to deal with a few documents. You will be dealing with the visa application itself. You will be dealing with the affidavit of support, which is very simple. Online, you fill out those forms, you submit them, you pay for them. And then the financial documents, tax transcripts, a few documents that establish the relationship, obviously marriage certificate, all the same stuff that you have submitted to the USCIS. Once that is reviewed, all the documents are submitted in the portal. Once NVC reviews all the documents and they're happy with everything, they will approve it, which means you're documentarily qualified. And once you're documentarily qualified, the case is transferred to the local US Embassy to schedule the interview basically for you. So if you have been already, let's see, applied 2020 and on January 2023, so I'm assuming USCIS already reviewed your case, meaning they have already approved your case. So now your case, January 2023, it should have been already transferred to the NVC. So I'm gonna ask you, if you can, follow-up comment. Have you already got the welcome email from NVC saying that, hey, your NVC portal has been created, please log into this portal, here's your case number, here's your invoice number that you will use to log into the NVC portal? I think you should already have it by now, and that's really the next thing that you will have to be dealing with. But you don't have to worry about the chargeability areas. They have nothing to do with you because there is no limitation on the visa. You don't have to deal with the visa bulletin at all, again, because there is no cap for you because you are in immediate relative category. So that's it for today. Thank you everyone watching. Thank you everyone for your questions. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate, absolutely no hesitation. Ask them in the comments below. As many questions as you have, I will be happy to answer them. As always, thank you for your time. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.